This episode is brought to you by High Point Market. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise.
So there is a particular kind of person who doesn't wait for an industry to exist before deciding to jump in and lead it. And our guest today is one of them. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast. I'm Laura Umansky, your co-host here with Melissa Grove. And today our guest is Adriana Hoyos. She began designing in Ecuador in the mid-1990s in a market that barely had a word for what she did. Barely even knew what interior design was, if it was even a thing. 3 decades later, she's one of the most influential design voices to come out of Latin America. She is the founder of a namesake furniture house that I'm sure you've heard of, with more than 15 collections. And she's a creative force behind interiors that range from private residences to an airport lounge with 5-star hospitality. So today we're going to have a conversation about a vertically integrated maker. We'll talk about forest to delivery and what it means when Adriano says it's not just the idea of a piece, but every decision that turns it into something real. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here I know you're bouncing all over the world. So really, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Laura and Melissa, for having me today. And I am looking forward to this conversation. And thank you for the introduction. Sounds like a lot.
Yes, I mean, it is a lot to kickstart an industry, which I don't know, maybe that's dramatics, but I really think that's true. Even when I started 25 years ago, when I was in school, I did not know interior design was a career. And so we're similar in timeline. And so I do want to start before any of the success back at the beginning. And you started designing in a place in a moment where interior design wasn't really recognized as a profession just yet. So you weren't really walking into an industry that was established. In a way, you were creating that industry. So when there's no established path, so no one telling you what good looks like, how do you know that what you were feeling was actually a point of view worth building and not just something that you loved and were passionate about? How did you know to go all in?
It's so funny you mentioned that because actually when I went to school in the USA for interior design, I always tell people that I was born to be a designer. So I had no doubt what I wanted to do in life. So when I came to Ecuador to find a job, there was no job for me. So I had to go in different directions and trying to find jobs. And the only jobs offered were in architectural positions, meaning like sketching or drawing plans. At that time we didn't have the computers yet, so I didn't know how to do that. So it was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So finally I found my first job, and obviously it was temporary because I really wanted to pursue my career. I was like decorating in a home department store, let's say like Macy's or Bloomingdale had a
Right.
because it's not like super high level. And I was there for a year, but I didn't have a mentorship and internship. I had to go all by myself, creating that career, creating that path, finding clients, learning from my own experience. Because sometimes I see my daughter and all the college students come to me and they learn for like a year. I didn't have that chance. I had to create everything. And also creating a market that did not exist, the need for an interior designer to hire one. Because
Yep.
at that time, there were no interior designers in Ecuador, because I came back to Ecuador after graduating from school in Washington, D.C., in Arlington, actually. And the housewives, they were the decorators, or the architects went all along the way, like from architecture to interior design, and why not decorating? And, using antiques, and people were not used to this new look. And I didn't have a look either because I just graduated from school. So I had to create everything and create my own path.
And your look is really distinctive. Was that in mind from day one? How did you come up with this? Like, you have a very specific style. I feel like when I see your pieces or I see your interiors, I know that's Adriana Hoyos. How did that develop over time?
that's such a, yeah, it's, some people say this is so Adriana Hoyos, and sometimes I try not to, because sometimes when I'm designing for a client, I am like, the first thing is the client, the lifestyle, the taste, the style they want. But after I finish, there's like a stamp, there's like
Yes.
a label of Adriana Hoyos. I think I do have I have developed a sense of, I would say, texture, depth, um, uh, I like everything to have a sense of place. And maybe it's my Latin blood that I bring into my design. So that had made my style distinct, and obviously my furniture pieces as well. Even though I have already 15 collections, and I see, I'm here at the factory where I can see all the evolution, and all of them have a certain DNA that
Mhm.
I developed without knowing, to be honest, and without an intention. I never say I'm going to develop a new collection that has a profound root in the Adriana Hoyos. No, I develop based on inspiration, but at the end it turns out to be Adriana Hoyos. So it's like that.
You can't escape. It is just you.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because you had just mentioned, there really isn't much of an interior design industry in Ecuador when you started, but right now you are sitting in an Adriana Hoyos factory. So how do you go
Right.
from no industry to now you have this factory and you're a really well-known name in the industry?
Yeah. It's an incredible journey, Melissa, and Laura. I started as an interior designer. I worked for so many years as an interior designer. My first, I would say, 10 to 15 years, and traveling the world, because there were no resources either. So I could not find furniture. I could not find accessories.
Mhm.
I now see the designers, they go online and they find everything. I was traveling the world. I was going to the States. I was going to Colombia, the neighbor country, to find furniture. And one day my husband said, listen, honey, you need to also be a mom, be a wife, and you cannot be traveling all day long, because you're going to. So I said I should start developing my own collection. And that was like in my mind, but it's so hard to say, okay, I'm going to become a furniture designer. I never thought of that. It was by accident. Coming back from High Point, North Carolina, many months ago, 30 years ago, 31, because we turned 30 last year. I had already found a place in Miami where we could display the designs we were doing, but they were transitional, nothing original, nothing that will
Mm.
be successful, to be honest. And by accident, I had on the plane back, I started sketching some furniture. And I had gin tonics, and I was sketching on the
That
napkins.
helps.
As you
It
do, a
helps,
couple
yeah.
cocktails.
So this is a flight. It's 4 hours long, and then obviously I was running out of napkins, running out of gin tonics. But when we landed, believe it or not, I had my first furniture collection without knowing. I was Coco, and
Mm.
I could see through those sketches that I had something that has a lot of value, had a lot of. So I came back to the factory, that we have a small factory. I remember I told you, creating something that was, I would say, transitional, and we created the prototypes, and we came back to High Point to present the prototypes, and it was super, super successful in a way that people were surprised, because this was new, fresh. So
Mm.
all, without knowing, we were creating a trend, and
Mm.
people were copying, because we didn't have a knowledge to sell, to distribute. It's been a long journey and a very hard one, because you need to learn. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. That's when my husband joined the company, and he started to be the brains and like the CEO, because I'm all creation. I'm not a good CEO. I don't like accounting. I don't like that part of the business. I love to create, to meet people, to get inspired, to sketch, to find materials. But that, like, management side, I didn't have that element. So we became, I would say, I can say it, a power couple, because it sounds like big, but it's been very, a very strong relationship. And now even my kids are part of the company.
That's amazing. I have twin 14-year-old daughters, and I'm like, do I see them stepping in and like being part of this company? I don't know. I don't know that they're creative. They don't care about designing their own rooms, but you design alongside your daughter. And
Mhm.
so, has that always been the plan? Was that like fostered at an early age? How did she just know she wanted to do this with you?
Not necessarily. I think it's been fostered throughout her like childhood. When she was a child, we will always travel together, always exposed to design. Um, I will go to France. Like we used to go to Maison Object, and I will
Yeah.
always take her to Paris. And for her, she was like 14, and it was like a treat. And then to High Point, and she was exposed. And when the time came, she went to a Savannah School of Arts in Georgia.
Mm.
And she said, I don't want to become an interior designer. I don't like that. I want to become a fashion designer. I said, do whatever you want.
Okay.
Design is design.
No
But I
pressure. Do
was
what you want.
no, but I was so sad because imagine. So I found her an internship in a very well-known brand of a fashion brand in Ecuador. They have like a Mango. You know Mango? Mango is a huge
Sure. Yeah,
brand.
of
It's
course.
like, yeah. But the Mango manager, the owner told me, you're gonna see she's not gonna like fashion after she does this internship. And then I remember talking to the dean of design in Savannah and saying that I could give them a scholarship if if they make my daughter more interested. And we
Encourage
did
her
this
into design,
incredible
please.
contest for furniture design at that time. And I involved her because we needed to judge, and she was a student back then. So all of those elements. And one day she calls me and said, Mom, I have decided my major. I said, what do you mean? You are a fashion designer. No,
You're
no,
like,
I'm
"What?"
gonna be yeah, I'm gonna be an interior designer. I cried my eyes. O sea, I was so happy because believe me, like the legacy of what we have done for me today is very, very important. So we
Yes.
have ¿cómo se dice? Make our both kids love the company, seduce them. That's the word I wanted. Seduce them
You're like,
into our
"Look how
company.
fancy this
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
This is
And
so
remember, it's
glamorous."
not easy and they love it. My son is in the business side. He's very good with the commercial. He's charismatic. He loves marketing, branding. And my daughter is like me, creation and we are very strong in doing the design. So it's been now it's incredible because we were the other day doing an interview, and it's incredible because it's hard for me to believe that like this couple of the months we're opening 5 new showrooms. Like
Oh my
today we
god.
have the people here from Washington DC. We're going to have like a flagship in M Street in Georgetown.
Mhm.
We are opening Guatemala next month. We're opening Atlanta.
Oh my gosh.
We just so it's hard to believe. And like you go to Dubai and you see the Adriana Hoyos store, and it's like the exact same thing. Meaning in branding, in the essence of the brand being so far away and so authentic and so the same. Meaning it's the same furniture, but people adapted to this. So having expanded through the world with the furniture, to me, I still can't believe what is happening because it's happening. It's ongoing, and this factory is growing every day. And we used to export like 1 container per day. Now it's like 2 per day,
Wow.
and yeah, it's a lot. So it's a
So does
lot
that
going
make
on.
you nervous? Or, like, is there any fear behind, like, "I'm expanding to 5 new locations right now at the same time simultaneously?" Or is it like, "Let's go?"
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. No, the thing is, yes, of course, we do have a lot of pressure as a family because it's more, we have a lot of responsibilities.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur, when you
Got
manage your
400
company,
employees. Yeah, that's
exactly. So we
yeah.
have to make the right decisions because these people, if you multiply 4 times 4, a lot of people depending on your good decisions. So that makes me always very careful. And I am I am not nervous. No, we have always been daring, but we do not make. So we already made a lot of mistakes in our, I would say, learning experiences, not mistakes, because
Yes.
we did open a lot of locations that we ended up closing because we could
Okay.
not hold so much operation. But now we found a way where we find partners local
Mhm.
partners in
Mm.
each territory. You
Okay.
cannot do it on your own because you don't have the relationship. So let's go, if we go to
Right.
Houston one day, for example, we need to find somebody that knows the design, that knows the trade industry, because we are a B2B. We don't go direct to the
Right.
client. We are B2B in the furniture. So
So
it's
you found
finding
your
the right
formula.
people.
It's that formula that
Exactly.
works for
That's
you.
the formula that works,
Yes.
because the formula of us being the conquerors of the world did not work. We,
Right.
we, 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 we lost a lot of money, and it was really, really hard for us. This happened like 15 years ago. And coming back and learning was, oof, it was really tough. And there I was really nervous. I could not sleep. I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? But
Yeah.
out of that, like, pain and that, I don't want to say mistake, but that learning curve,
Yeah. Yeah.
we woke up, I would say, stronger, and with, knowledge, much better now. So it's a different world.
It's resilience, right? Because I mean,
That's the word.
I think that you learn so much from your mistakes and these awful
Mm.
things that happen to you, and you can either let that kill you, and destroy and shatter your business, or you can pivot and learn from it. And I think if you're still continuing to expand, I think that really speaks to how strong your brand is. Yes, the look, but I think also your team too. I wonder, I mean, do you feel like, I mean, you've talked about the people that you surround yourself with, but you're also working with your family. I feel like that has to be a two-edged sword. Like there's going to be something really, really wonderful about it. I would love it if I worked with my daughter. That
Oh,
is
I've already decided we're gonna take, all of our so we have between the 2 of us, I don't know if Magnolia's 15 now, but we have 3
Oh.
14-year-old girls. They're all coming to Paris. Like
Yes, take them. Get them involved if you want your legacy to continue. Because as a designer, if you think about it, Laura, let's say one day you want to retire. And it's so sad because I've seen careers of people that are artists, and if they retire, there's nothing behind them. But if you create that legacy, that ongoing opportunity for your company, it doesn't go with you. It stays, and it can stay for many generations. And that's our vision. We want this company to stay. But what you were saying, Melissa, it's the resilience, it's the persistency, because you have to continue your journey every day. I get up every day to go to my work. I love what I do. And that's another very important key component of what we do, is that we are passionate about it. I can see it with you also as a designer. We are passionate designers. And my mission today is like to impact. It sounds like cliche, but it's true, to impact the life of people around us, with our beautiful furniture, with the comfort we provide, with the lifestyle we can create. So it's a beautiful world. I just can thank enough that I chose this beautiful career of being an interior designer plus a furniture designer. It's like fascinating.
Hmm.
I'd love to know, how much are you actually designing when it comes to your collections? Because I know a lot of designers, it really varies. How much of this is you?
Mm, it's a lot. It's 100%.
I
I
don't
would
see
say,
you
obviously, I
relinquishing control.
collaborate. I have my. I'm looking forward new collaborations in the future. By the way, because that's the world. It's the trend, and we need to find the right people to be able to collaborate. It can be coming from fashion. I don't know. We're going to find somebody in the near future to collaborate. But as per today, everything starts with us. And I have to mention Andrea as well, because we had for like 10 years since we did the Galapagos collection. That,
Mhm.
Laura, when you go to the Galapagos, you're going to see how easy it was to design that collection. It's one of my most successful collections. And since that day, we always try to create together, to dream together. And when we're starting a new collection, the first thing we do is look for inspiration. But sometimes we're not looking for inspiration, and the inspiration comes. Like for
Mhm.
the Galapagos, we were just traveling in the Galapagos together, and we went for a wedding. I was not even supposed to go, but my daughter broke with her boyfriend like the day before. She said, "Mom, can you come?" I said, "Okay, I'm coming."
Sure, girls trip.
And yeah, girls trip, and we were going to the wedding, and the first thing we saw is a sea lion that will not let us go through a bridge. And we were together, and she jumped over the sea lion, and
Oh
I
my
could
God.
not jump. I was wearing a long dress. So I said, Andrea, you know what? The Galapagos collection was just born. And since then, that sea lion became a sofa. You can see it in the sketches. So since then, both of us create the collections. And as I mentioned, sometimes we're just talking about, we're going to Brazil in 2 weeks
Hmm.
to look for inspiration. We're going to go to this design show, and then we're going to attend a lot of exhibitions, because I think Brazil is full of inspiration, and I have not been in Brazil for a while. So let's see. We're going to go for a trip. If we find something, we'll do it. And if not, we just, go there, see, and have fun as a girls' trip.
Love that. So when we toured the showroom at High Point, I guess it was April maybe, or even October before, you talk about your pieces like they're your babies. And it pains you if something doesn't like hit in the market. So is there a is there a baby that the market never fully understood, but that you defend anyway? And I bring this up because you brought some of your pieces back recently with Origin. So
Exactly,
what
exactly.
piece just was like, it hurt your heart because like it never captured a foothold in the market?
I can't think of something like that, but I can tell you, right, that I get really sad when we go into meetings that we have to discontinue, because these collections have a lifespan. And sometimes we have pieces from 20 years ago, but most of the collection needs to go out. So we give space to the new innovation, the new collections. And that's what hurts me the most. But yes, there's certain pieces that have, like, we call them iconic. And that's when I go all the way. I don't care, because they here at the factory, they tell me, oh, that's going to be too expensive. That's going to be impossible to sell. Nobody's going to like it. But anyway, I go with it because I want to go with it. Like
Someone
most
tells you
of,
nobody's going to like it.
yeah,
No.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, fine. I like it. And I show it. And there is like this big, most of them are iconic chairs. We call them iconic because they are the ones that will never sell. Nobody's going to like them. They're too expensive. They're too big. They're too small. And they sell.
Yep.
And they sell because designers nowadays, they're also looking for pieces that are very special, that
Hmm.
are like for hospitality, let's say. And so they do make their path outside. I won't say they're like the biggest selling because they're iconic pieces,
Right.
but discontinuing, it's like, yes, they're my babies because we create them, and I think they can still sell. But the people here say, no, 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 they're not selling, because now it's guided by numbers. I'm not a number person, but they do have a lot of data. These
Mm.
companies, like, we have a lot of very high tech people, very young. They know exactly what's selling, where, what color, and I just go like intuition,
There's like, my gut says this.
intuition. Yeah, that's what guides us. And obviously we have learned a lot of proportion. And that's one thing that makes a difference between us creating furniture as interior designers than just an engineer or somebody out of a tech school designing furniture. Because most of these, like I'm sitting now in those like super modern desks, chairs, they're created by engineers. They're not created by designers. They're
Yeah.
comfortable. They have like, they're practical, but they're not like beautiful. They're not what an interior designer can create.
So I've heard you also say that luxury is a decision you would make when no one's watching. And so what's a standard in your work that you feel like a client may never notice, but you would never let it slide? Like, what's something that has to happen?
Exactly. To me, it's the amount of detail that we put into the furniture. Like sometimes there is a stitching that nobody can tell, but for me, I can see it. And like when I'm buying furniture from a lot of people, because as a designer, I have to buy, and I love buying people, people's furniture. But if the stitching is not perfect, I would say that's not luxury. That can, some people don't mind, but I do mind. The
Mm,
way a piece sits, the amount of elements of design, the materiality of just a piece. If it's like fully upholstered, like no detailing, no, I find it boring. So I am always trying to put details that people do notice. People do notice because those details is what makes the piece textured,
mm,
layered, with perspective. So sometimes I talk about furniture, and people like think I'm crazy because people just see furniture as no, but I see furniture as a piece of art
right.
and a silhouette that needs to be sculptural. And this sculpture needs to become beautiful and comfortable and have a quality like no other. It
Mm,
needs to last forever. And plus it needs to be, I would say, timeless. I don't
mm.
like fast fashion. I like pieces to stay there, to live with to live with the person that bought them for a long journey. And sometimes we reupholster pieces, or we just add a pillow because you want to change.
Right.
And that's what happens with the
But the
pieces.
foundation is there.
It's there and the quality. So that's for me luxury. And also the handcraft, because we here at the factory, that's why we are in Ecuador. These people here are so talented, they're born with it. The best tailors in the world are from Ecuador. People come from Italy here, and they take them to Italy to be the best tailors in all these incredible companies in Italy, especially for fashion. And we are so lucky we are here. So and now in our factory, we have second generations of people that have inherited their talent, their knowledge from the parents. And it's incredible to see that,
Mm.
I'm always so excited to see, oh, that's the son of Manuelito. And Manuelito is still working here, and he's still doing his best.
So it's a
So that's also,
legacy for like
yeah,
there's legacy everywhere. Yeah.
but that handcrafted, that a lot of pieces are losing, we try to keep it in. Even
Right.
when we make the upholstery, the stitching, the now we have quilting. The quilting
Mm,
we're doing very high tech, but there is a lot of hands involved too, because we now have introduced the quilting for all the bags, and that gives another layer for designers to play with, adds luxury to the piece. And I love to see how the people here are so talented to bring those pieces together and mixing technology with the handcrafted element. Like all the wood is finished by hand here. And
mm,
that's like so hard to copy. That's why sometimes it has that character, that open pore of the Adriana Hoyos furniture.
hmm.
Do you ever feel like it's challenging telling that story though? I think that, now it's instant gratification, right? I want my furniture today. I want it yesterday. Is it ever difficult to communicate that to a client? It's like this is slow. This is handcrafted and that's really important to you.
I love when people receive our furniture, they never know what they're getting, because sometimes we go through designers most of the time, like
Yeah.
I would say 95% of the time we go through designers. So designers, for us it's hard to engage them in the beginning because they have so many companies like me.
Yeah.
Oh, a new vendor, oh, we don't know. But when we start opening accounts and meeting new designers, they already generate a relationship, a trust, and they know what they're getting. But I love when the designers call us, oh, our client loved the furniture.
Mhm.
They could see through those details that I'm talking to you about, because when they sit in the furniture, eh, eh, they feel comfortable. And for me, comfort is luxury as well,
Yeah.
because that's what people are looking today to enjoy their homes, to make them prettier, to make them like even for their self-esteem. I see how when when the designers finish these beautiful homes, people feel, you know, more happier, and they entertain more. Um, it's a whole circle that's why I'm so happy to work as a designer and to be able to, with through my design, make the life of a lot of people happier. And merrier. It's gorgeous.
And so I feel like a lot of our conversation has been centered around this idea, the concept of legacy. So, what do you want the next generation to keep exactly as it is? And what do you hope they're going to change?
I have never thought about that, but we have values that are grounded and they're so strong in us. Identity, um, we are transparent, we are honest, and I want my company always to be honest from beginning to end. So that I don't want to change. And these kids have immersed into those values since they were little kids, and I don't think that's changing. Uh, in the future, I would like to see innovation. I would like they to continue the journey into different markets. I don't know, because I used to say, okay, Latin America. No, Latin America is now not the world. So I want them to create their own world into innovation and expanding in a way that I'm not very ambitious of how much money they will be. I'm not a number person. So
Hmm.
if you bring me to a meeting where we see numbers, I get bored. But if we see challenges, if we see new markets, I get really, really excited. So I think they're going to do a good job. They're already grown-ups, and I see them as passionate as we are, and that's really contagious. And to me, what else can you ask as a professional, as a mother, to have these two kids already so involved and so loving what they do? Because that's another part. If you're telling, oh, you have to take care, but they love it. So, that's really, really beautiful.
Melissa, anything else before we wrap up?
No, I think that was wonderful. I do just want to end by saying the last time that we went to market, you toured your showroom with us, and we took a group of designers, and I asked them afterwards, what was one of your favorite showrooms? They're just like, Adriana Hoyos, hands
Hands
down.
down.
And
Yep.
I think so
Yeah.
much of it was because you just have the passion in you of what you're doing. And I think also too, because you're so connected to your family and then also to the product, but then also to the people who are going to be living with your furniture for a very, very long time. It's not just about this collection just came out today. Like, you introduced us to a chair. You're like, this is my favorite chair. I've had it since the beginning of my company. It's never going to go anywhere. And that really resonated with with our designers. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for letting let me know. It's gratifying to see that or to hear that. For me, that's my fuel. When I hear, oh, people loved it, or these families just like in love with their new home, that's what fuels me. That's gives me more energy to continue my journey. And people tell me, Adriana, when are you going to retire? I'm like, I don't think I'm retiring. I love what
Never.
I do, and never. No, it's, to me, my job is my passion, and I just love what I do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see you. I'll see you at High Point in the fall, I think. And then I will see you in Ecuador next spring. I'm making the trip. I'm gonna come
Sure.
join you at the factory.
Please, Laura, let me know. Yes, I will love to give you some tips about the country. It's a beautiful country, and especially the Galapagos Islands that are so beautiful, and should be in everybody's bucket list to visit once or twice in their lifetime.
Yep. And I'll bring my daughters too, so they'll be inspired.
Yes,
Thank you
and
so much.
obviously, I would like you to come to the factory with them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast, coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on designdash.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.